Okay, I think we got it going now. Let me just refresh this page. There I am. Hello, folks. Back with blues time, as I like to call it. We had a lot of construction going on in the house here, in the studio, having stuff done, and also in the other floors above me. So we weren't really getting a chance to do some of the things like last week. And this week, we're just lucky I got in. I got in enough to do a guitar lesson for you all. And this guitar lesson, I've been this week. What I've been doing is I've been doing a great deal of studying, even more so, on Blind Boy Fuller, the music of Blind Boy Fuller. He was just an amazing musician. He died way too young, but he had an incredible style. It was very much within the realm of the Piedmont guitar playing, the Piedmont region being the east coast of the United States, going from probably all the way up to Virginia and all the way down to South Carolina and through Georgia. Uh, and his playing reflected that style. That style could be really best described as extremely complex finger picking for blues and ragtime music. You could tell his early influences. I mean, he listened to Blind Blake records and listened to them and studied from them, as well as he did a great deal of listening to live performances. I think of Gary Davis, the Reverend Gary Davis, who was a formidable player with him, in his own right. So Fuller did a lot of this. Plus, I'm guessing he also listened to a lot of, or had to have listened to a lot of the old jazz. That at that time it wasn't old, the contemporary jazz that was going on at the time, especially when he was growing up and learning the guitar. Unfortunately, he lost his sight in his mid 20s, and he really had to make his living as a street performer and as a performer, I guess, in house parties. But he had a unique style, and what I'm doing is I'm putting out a set of lessons. In about a week, it's going to be released, but it's all finished. It's just it'll take a few days to send it out to folks. But if you see the donation tab up there, for a donation of $15, I'm going to give you a choice of any two songs that I have in my guitar lesson website. If there's like 59 or 60 of them to choose from, there I'm always adding more. And then if you add, like, say, $5 to that, not only will you get those two songs, but you will also receive uh, this brand new set of lessons. I think there's 5 tunes that I'm teaching, and there's also this part that I'm teaching is Fuller's famous licks. And there's a lot of other things that's going to be in there. I guess it would be like a real surprise to some folks. But I'm going to be teaching a lot of cool tunes. The tunes are like Careless Love, that's one of them. They're going to be teaching a Baby I Don't Have to Worry, Step It Up and Go, Pistol Slapper Blues, and Rag Mama Rag. But I just don't teach you the songs. We really dive into Boy Fuller's style. And I call it Blind Boy Fuller Under the Hood, because we're really opening it up and seeing really what made his style so unique. On top of that, I show you variations on all those songs, so you can learn how to play. Uh, you can learn how to play these things instead of playing it the same way over and over again. I'm going to show you how to be very creative with these songs, while staying within the style of Blind Boy Fuller. So anyway, we're going to get going here. I'm using my friend of mine, his 1930 National Triolean. It's just a great sounding guitar. It's a great playing guitar, and it's very rare that these guitars from that time period are intonated fairly well. It is, and it just has a great sound to it. And anyway, if you want to say hello, now that we're live right now, you can say hello in the comment section. It's always nice to see that people are paying attention and having fun, and that's the whole idea of this. Is I like sharing. It's my passion to play this music, to perform it, to study it, and also to share what I know with other guitar players that want to dive into this style of music. So at any rate, you can also download the tab. There's a link right above me where you can download the tab, and the tab and notation for this particular lesson, Fuller's famous licks. Joffrey, it's good to see Joffrey here. Hey Joffrey, glad you could make it. Anyway, so let's get started. Andreas, my man Andreas. I have to tell you that Andreas was the inspiration or gave me the idea to actually put together some a group of Blind Boy Fuller lessons. He says, you know, that would be a really good idea to get Fuller lessons. And I said, you know what? That is a great idea. Andres, thank you very much. And they will be out probably in about a week, but I'm not releasing them until a few days later. So, like I said, for a $20 donation, I'm going to send out that pre-release set of all the lessons and all the stuff. Christian, I'm glad you made it, Christian. I saw your comment there earlier. Bob Horn, hey Bob, nice to see you here too. So make sure you download the tab, folks. It's right above me. The link is right above me. You can download the tab for this is one of the lessons that's going to be part of that package. So there's all kinds of things. So, poor Sue is in Seattle, and my goodness gracious, I don't know how hot it is there. We hit 93, 95 yesterday, and it was very humid in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, but oh man, that's probably like a refrigerator to you at this point. I really feel sorry. Charles is here too. Good to see you, Charles. Good to have you. Good to have you in the room. We don't know how to drive in the snow, so I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, let's get rolling on this, shall we? I love this. You're all finally buying air conditioners now. I have an air conditioner story. I'll tell you later on. Okay. At any rate. Fuller did something that a lot of other guitarists have done. A lot of instrumentalists have done this. Piano players do it. Lots of people. When he was going into a particular chord, he would go, say, a whole step below the root note and then chromatically work his way up to it. So let's just say he was going into an A chord here. He would actually start from a G note, G sharp, and then hit the A like that. And if you listen to Rattlesnake Daddy, you can actually hear that little lick there going into it. Another point I want to make about Fuller's playing is he used a capo a lot. And in this particular tune, he's playing in this A shape, but the capo is, I believe the capo is all the way up on the 5th fret. So he's actually technically in the key of D, playing with an A shape. However, when I transcribed this tune, I made it available just there. Also, if you're listening to Blind Boy Fuller and you want to play along with some of this stuff, you have to kind of tweak the tuning on your guitar, because he wasn't exactly, sometimes he was, but he wasn't exactly at 440. So you have to kind of tweak it. So this is in the key of D. If you want to play along eventually with Rattlesnake Daddy, the licks from there, you have to kind of tune that 4th string a little bit, tweaking it. Anyway, so when he did that, he also did this going into his D, starting from the C note, and then going into, in Rattlesnake Daddy, he uses a D9. It's an interesting little chord. When he goes into his E7, he's starting from a D note on the 5th string, winds up with his 3rd finger there, and then goes into like a little C7 shape, which at the 5th fret would be an E7. So we have the A, we have going into the D. Should get some water here, excuse me, and going into the E7 we have. So if I was going to actually apply this to something in the key of A, I would do something like this. So I get. So I'm actually now going to go. I should explain this. I'm now going to go into an alternating bass finger picking pattern. So if you're looking at your tab, going down to applying the licks, that would be your second system down. So leading into that E7, here you can actually do this, or the way sometimes he does it, he's actually sliding from the D, going in like that. You know, they called Brownie blind. Yeah, David, they actually did. But did Brownie McGee learn from Fuller? My guess, sorry, my guess is, if he didn't learn from Fuller personally, he probably learned from the records because they were out. And yeah, Blind Boy Fuller #2, because they wanted to take advantage of his name after he died. Yep, and thanks. I'm glad you like the it's a triolean. So let's take a look at this measure by measure, shall we? This is applying the licks. I go into my A chord, and I'm going to see, I left off on that 5th string, so I'm going to be alternating the bass between the 5th and 4th string while holding down the high A, and my other 2 fingers are grabbing the 1st and 2nd string here. So I got, so that's that full measure there. Now I'm going to switch over to an A7 chord by picking up my pinky and continue this little, then back again, same thing, and then got that. So basically we have 4 measures of the A, but now seeing as how my next chord is going to be a D9, on that last measure when I'm leaving off on that A7, last beat, I'm going to do that little walk up from the C to the open D, and now I'm in my D9. Now here it's interesting because what Fuller does in Rattlesnake Daddy is he just stays on the 4th string for his bass. And you can, what I usually do here is sometimes I'll use all 3 fingers, getting that whole D chord with my index on the 3rd string, middle finger on the 2nd, and my 3rd finger on the 1st string. Now, you could also just sort of strum up with your finger, like, so you can actually get that effect as well. I don't think it's really going to matter as long as you get that nice, that little D9 sound. That's that 2nd measure. Now we're going to leave that last beat to get back into the A. Now we're going into the E, and we're going to, from that A7, the last beat, I'm going to slide my 3rd finger up to that 5th string, 7th fret. Once I'm there, I'm forming my E7 chord. So that measure is going to sound like this. And with that takes us into our next line. Going to stay on the 6th string and the 5th string for our bass. And we're going to grab the other strings as much as we can. So really kind of grabbing as many strings as we can here. You want to get that 4th string in there. You can just sort of strum up with everything. also do something like this, and Fuller does this in his playing. When he comes down on the second bass note, he kind of strums down sometimes, so he gets that fifth and fourth string. And if you're combining that with your fingers, you can get the other three strings. You get that. So he has that it's a very loose style. You may even just want to just strum up with your first finger, like get that type of sound to it. And then again, right back to the A. And then we end it. So that's one way that you can use these little bass walk-ups to put into your playing into the key of A. It's a cool little way of doing it. It works really nice, and it gives your song some momentum. So we'll just leave that and take a look now. We're going to go up to our second page, because here's a couple of few little cool little licks that you can now put into that song, or into that little progression that we just did. Let's take a look at the top of the second page here in your notation in your tab. What we're going to be dealing with now is a thing called quarter note triplets. And this is something that Blind Boy Fuller would employ, not only in this, the other song is Careless Love. He actually employs it in there as well. And if you're listening to a quarter note triplet, if your beat is like this, your quarter note triplets would be da 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 da, 1 2 3 1 2 3, or 1 2 3 4 5 6. You're getting 6 notes in 4 beats, and evenly. And the lick, actually, it kind of sounds like that. Well, it does sound like that. 1 2 3 4. Ba 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 boom ba 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 ba. And to put that little lick in the middle of a song, it's a little jarring, but it's so cool. So I'm going to play that. This is the top of your second page. I'm going to play that measure and then go right into the next measure, which uses the A chord. So we have this. Now the other way you could do that is hold the whole chord down. You could get it just like that as well. But now, if we were to put that into this song, that little thing that we're doing. So here I just put it in after the E7 because I had a couple of bars of an A chord coming up. It's a great little lick, and it's the timing that really makes that lick pop. Okay, that's what really works here. Let's take a look at a lick that he does put in as well, and it's this one where he gets. Now he uses this lick instead of playing his D chord, you know. Notice that this lick. That lick is also 2 measures long, like the 2 measures that you did earlier in this lesson. So you could substitute that little lick. So let's take a look at what this lick is comprised of, because this little lick here and this fingering was used by a lot of country blues guitar players. Really what it is, it's part of a D chord. And And if I was to actually move that chord all the way back, you'd have an A chord. But instead of cramming all my fingers in like this, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to put my first finger on the A and get my third finger on the F sharp. That's all I'm going to need for this. And to make it real funky, I'm going to have, it's really kind of, technically it would be a D7 now. By adding my pinky to the C, that would be like playing a C note here for the D7. I'm not going to take that. Actually, I'll have to just cancel that one. It's people that have to fix our furniture. There's lots of stuff going on in the Walker household here. At any rate, what we have now is that open fourth string, and you can see that D7. There's C right there. Technically, it's called the flat 7, and it's also here. So if I'm combining that with, wouldn't it be funny if the furniture people were watching this video? One of them was a guitar. Okay. So we have the F sharp and the C here. All right, and that's part of this D7 chord. So we're really putting it in like a bit of a D7 in there. I'm using my first and second fingers to grab that first and second string, and I'm picking up my pinky and putting it back down again. So if I wanted to put that into works really nice there. So that's just an interesting little thing that you can do with that little part. All right, let's take a look now at a tune. This little lick comes up from Climbing on Top of the Hill. This is another little song that Blind Boy Fuller plays. I believe he's also playing this without a capo, again in the key of A, and he starts off with this, just a D-shaped chord, but it's at that 9th fret, making it an A chord. Okay, and he starts off singing and just doing this underneath. Can do with that little thing is just sort of maybe slide it. That gives it a little, and he does that in other songs as well. I think it's It'll Come to Me, Stem Winder. I think he does that in the tune I'm a Good Stem Winder. There's a little double entendre for you. Now, another little thing, and this isn't in the tab here, but I wanted to point this out. This is very close to the little 7th chord here. So you could say interchange these. That's kind of a cool little thing that you can do. And we're going now, in the next line down is, there's that same D7. But we have it. There's a nice little D7 lick, and then listen to this. This one I love. Wow. There's a nice way of getting back into an A chord, right? You get that. So let's take a look at this one. We're still technically in a measure that belongs to the D chord, but we're not playing a D chord. And you don't necessarily have to always play the D chord. You could go into play a cool little lick that leads you back into the A chord. All right, so if the D chord is 2 measures long, here you're doing a little thing on the D chord. You get that. And Technically, the next measure would be a D. If a bass player, piano player, another guitar player is playing with you, they'd be playing a D. But you can play this cool little lick and eventually get back into an A. So let's get this. Let's take a look at this note by note. We have the open fourth string, and you kind of let that ring because we have a D note, a D chord going on, and it's the C, A, G on the second string. Now we've got to get back here, and the way that I hear Blind Boy Fuller doing that, he hits an open first string. That gives him time to get back to this E flat note, to the D note, and then he gets this nice little. You can kind of slide up to the second fret like this. So we have this. And you want to do that in eighth notes. So it's a dot dot. And if you notice, those eighth notes aren't just dot 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 dot. It's not. That's very boring. This again it comes from, I think, the jazz idiom of the time. So those eighth notes are swing eighth notes. Ba 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 ba. I mean, technically it's a dotted eighth and a 16th, but it's called a swing eighth. Now we wind up sliding here. I'll use my first finger to slide into like a little A shape, and as I come down in the next measure, I'm going to come down with my fifth on the fifth string and pinch the third string. So I have, this is the next part of a wonderful little lick. Wow, that is a very typical Piedmont guitar move. So let's take a look at that. We're going up into our third measure now. We're in our A. So I'm hitting that third string 3 times, and my bass is fifth string and then fourth string. And then very quickly I'm getting into an E chord. Important to do that on the upbeat. 1 and 2 and then you can add your pinky and get this little D open E D. So it's and then right after that, do another little slide into your A chord. So we have and then so that whole little line there, it's just so great. That right there very much typifies what Piedmont players would do, like Blind Blake, Gary Davis, John Cephas is another one, the late John Cephas, and obviously Blind Boy Fuller. That little lick in the A, in the key of A, with the A shape and the E, was very, very common in their music. Should play Furniture Man now. I should, but I won't. Bennett, you should play Furniture Man. Put it up on your Facebook page. I challenge you. Anyway, that's a really great little lick in there. Now, let's take a look at this one. This is just the coolest little lick in the world. And I use it like when I'm in the key of A, and I want to do an interesting turn your head type turnaround, okay? I put that up on YouTube earlier. It's just so cool. Isn't that a cool little lick? So I have to share this one with you, okay? Oh damn. So let's take a look at this. There's an E chord sort of suggested. So I get bass, open first string, and then F sharp and open E, and then do this E. So it's right. The next little part is chromatically down from the A down to the F sharp. So we have and now you're going to be going into a B7. You're saying, well, what's the B7 doing in the key of A? Well, this is, again, part of Blind Boy Fuller's style and that Piedmont style. We get this where I'm hitting the second string, first string, and then come down. You come down on the fourth or the third, either one. Or I kind of like the fourth string. And then after you get that little open first, back to that E, open first again, to basically, in this case, I guess it would be considered an E9, but it's the same little shape. And then right into your A, so we have so now I usually hit that open fifth string in there. You can actually strum down if you like. Fuller does a lot of strumming down with his thumb. So we have this so far. The next little part to that is take your first and second finger. You're going to be playing, it's like really part of a diminished chord here. It's a C sharp, D sharp, and a C natural. And you got your high A note here. So you have this little configuration. And you're going to be playing it as a triplet. Then move this back and pick up your third finger to allow the open first string to ring. So you, and then finally we have this little, that's what we did earlier, okay, leads right into your A. So that's just a cool, that's just a cool lick. I mean, heck, folks, if you want to donate anything, donate $6 for the lesson. Ain't that worth $6 at least? That's just a cool little thing. Anyway, so let's take a look at the last of these licks, and what we have here. This is the next page. And when I first heard this on When Your Gal Packs Up and Leaves in the key of E and using an E chord, I heard two different things. I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan and I heard Bo Carter. Here's an interesting. There's a couple of licks in here that one comes right out of, you'll hear it. Kind of close to what Stevie was doing in Pride and Joy in the very beginning, right? But that's what Fuller does. He's hitting the in the key of E. He's hitting the open first string and the second string at the fifth fret, and a nice little unison thing going on there. And then he just takes his third finger and moves it up along the second string to get the G natural. Okay, and he gets that open first string. I believe Stevie Ray Vaughan actually included the B note, which is a great, but Fuller just moved his finger up and like that. Then he came back to the E note and he did this. Open first and second, and then open second and third. And that would take him right into his E chord. And adding that little seventh. So you get that, all right? So all together, that first line. Yeah. Yeah. Now, what he's going to do in that measure, when he's going into the E chord, the E7, right? He's going to do something interesting with his bass. And this is yet another thing that I would think, because he used to listen to Blind Blake records and learn from Blind Blake records, that this came from a Blind Blake record. Blind Blake was famous for doing this little double thumb technique like that. Okay, so we had this. And that ba-bum, it's the last upbeat of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come down on the first beat of the next measure, which would be in A chord, and we're hitting the open A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Now, if I combine it with that E7. Oh, and I land on, I'll pinch that sixth and fourth string, because that's what I heard Fuller doing, like this, in the beginning of the measure. Then he gets his pinky out here, picks it up and puts it back down again. But what does that sound like? This doing the same thing with an E. We did that with a D, right? The B to the, the flat 7, the D to the B. There it is, right there. So we have going into the A. And when we're in that A, he does this. Let's listen to this lick. Hits that fifth string, and then basically gets that he's in an A7, but he starts off just with his finger like this, and then hammers very quickly from the second fret to the third fret, and he grabs another string in there, and then just pulls this off, and he gets a little pull there, and then hits the open first string, and then gets the bass note, and then another little, get that little da-dump thing, or that double bass. I'm going to play that that last line, very first measure, and then going into that little double bass. So that's little. Now when you get into that last part of that double bass, you're going to be basically holding down that A note. You're in that A7 area anyway. All right, so you're going to go like this. I'll do that lick again. See, I'm pinching the fifth and third string, just like that. So I have, and when he's there, he's going to continue playing that G note in there. So you get that, get that. So he kind of brings that little pull off back again. And now I told you that this reminds me of Bo Carter. All right, this next part reminds me of Bo Carter because Bo Carter would put in the sixth when he's in the E chord, and it sounds like this. Straight alternating bass. Bo Carter used to do that in Cigarette Blues. He used to get that little C sharp in there, which is something that a lot of people do. I mean, Mississippi John Hurt does that, and Mance Lipscomb did it in Sugar Babe. He did that little D to the C sharp. So that C sharp is a nice little thing that you can add to an E chord. You've done that for years, or maybe you've never thought about doing that, but you can. Anyway, that's some of the Blind Boy Fuller favorite licks. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Again, if you can donate anything, that would be good. $6, just throw me $6 for the lesson if you'd like. But if you do $15, you can choose any 2 songs lessons that I teach on my website. There's 59 to choose from. If you go to the that link, the donor box, you can basically go to my guitar lesson site, and you'll see it takes you right to that page of guitar lessons. And choose any 2, and then shoot me an email, and I will send you those 2 lessons. Those 2 lessons are like downloadable videos and tablature. And for an extra $5, I'm going to give you that, but I'm also going to throw in the brand new set of lessons. It's going to be coming out in a week, but I'm going to send it to you in a few days when it all gets loaded up. Here's the other thing about that brand new set of lessons, the Blind Boy Fuller Under the Hood. The Blind Boy Fuller Under the Hood is also in the brand new format on the website. So it's a whole brand new format. You're going to see a video in just one window, okay, on that same page. And then as you're looking at it, over here, there would be a list of each video as you work through your lesson. And it's for each song. So you're working through everything in one window, and for that song you have modules. And you just click on that, and the next part of the song comes up. The next one comes up. It's a whole new, brand new format. And what we're going to be adding to that in the future, near future, we're going to be adding, not only can you download the tab and notation, but you're also going to be able to see the tab and notation right on the screen, right in front of you, just below the video. That's coming up soon too. I got my man Ben working on all of these things. He's just amazing. He does it, and then he shows me how he does it. So it's just pretty cool. So folks, Christian, you're very welcome from Austria. Sue from Seattle, try and stay cool. Go out and get that air conditioner. Rob, you're very good. Andreas, you're very welcome. Oh, Sue, if you're still there, I wanted to tell you this. Everybody would like this little story. Air conditioning. All right, I was Warren. You got it, Warren. Air conditioning. Okay, got a little air conditioning story. You're very welcome, Michael. I was teaching at the National Guitar Workshop. It wasn't National Guitars. They just called it the National Guitar Workshop. And they put us all in these dormitories. And these dormitories, this is during a hot summer. The dormitories had no air conditioning, none, because students would bring their own air conditioner, see, during the school session. No air conditioning at all. So what we all the teachers did, we went down to the local Kmart and we bought small little window air conditioners. And we brought them into our dorms and set them up in the windows. Now at least we have a cool place to go after teaching all day long. The end of the week, we returned them. Got our money back from Kmart, saying, nah, it just didn't do the job the way I wanted to. That's what all the teachers did at National Guitar Workshop. It was many years ago. Anyway, so that's my air conditioning story. It was a caper for sure. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the lesson. I really appreciate that. And next week, we'll probably be doing another one. I say probably because, like I said, there's all kinds of construction going on now in the studio and above the next floor is the house. So who knows? But just stay tuned. I'll send out emails and keep you all posted. All right, folks, thanks again. I really do appreciate you all hanging out and having a great time. And I have a great time doing this. I absolutely love it. So take care, folks.